All right, Fit Fam, check it out. It is yours truly, Coach Paul, coming back at you, y'all. Another Trainer Tip Tuesday, all right. So for today's focus, I want to make sure that we're going to be covering some of our other hinging movements there. When I say other hinging movements, because previously, I've talked about some deadlifts before. I've talked about some Swiss squat, hamstring curls, which kind of is a hip dominant movement. But nonetheless, for today's intents and purposes, fam, we're going to be covering that RDL. When you see that RDL, all that stands for is Romanian deadlift. So Romanian deadlifts, fam, they're going to be very different than your traditional deadlift. So when you see like kettlebell deadlift, dumbbell deadlift, single arm deadlift, if that's in there, whatever the case may be, nonetheless, it is not your conventional, regular, standardized deadlift, okay? Now, there are other variations again, so there's RDL. I'm gonna keep it very simple with that. With an RDL, the main focus on that one is primarily going to be your glutes, okay? Literally, that's your primary focus on an RDL action, okay? Again, it's a lot of hip hingement that is going on with this, and lots of stability with that core. And yes, so let's kind of talk through it basically on a side-facing view without any weight first. So you can perform an RDL without any weight actuality to actually prime and get these muscles going, okay? So you want to stand about hip width apart, all right? If you stand up a little bit wider, you kind of make it more of a hip dominant movement. You will get the hamstrings, but to keep it started off basic is about, again, hip width apart. Now you're gonna go ahead and you can use these hands as a guide. You can hinge back at those hips, push the butt back. And once you get about palm level right here, or just past the palms, or right where my wrists start to initiate or touch contact with my knees there, I now feel a stretch all in the glutes, as if literally, all right, for lack of better terms, as if you're trying to stretch and pull apart those muscles, okay? So again, those wrists are there. You notice my shoulders are backing down as I draw them back. Now I'm not actually like really engaging, like I'm flexing my back muscles there. What I'm really doing is I'm just pulling backwards and down. So think about that scapular retraction. So we're standing nice and normal, retracting back, those shoulder blades nice and easy. All right, and now again, I'm rolling, pushing the hips back, soft bend these knees. This is the difference with that RDL. There's a soft bend. Okay, if you see from that side, there's a straight line coming up, a soft angle coming here, and you see that perfect about 45-degree coming from the hips to my back, okay? And again, from here, you're really gonna think about pushing these hips, those glutes. You wanna think about squeezing. When you squeeze, it pulls you back up to the top automatically, okay? Now again, you're thinking about here it is, my shoulders are rolled back and down. Just gonna ease that in there. Right now, I'm going to really hinge at the hips. I'm pushing my hips to the back of that room. I'm really spreading, feeling the stretch in my glutes there. Once I do, check it. If I put my hands back in the front, that's where my wrists are at regardless. And then from there, again, I'm squeezing my glutes to stand back up nice and tall to initiate all that glute work. Again, that's where everything is focused. You may slightly feel, as you hinge that backwards, a slight stretch on the top of the hamstrings. That's okay, but we're not trying to get a full deep stretch in that deep, I want to say, I'm losing the terms for it right now. It's almost a bicep femoris that's back there, but you have a bigger, larger head of the hamstring that sits really deep in there. And that's where we don't want to feel, okay? With that backwards teardrop, you could say, we have a teardrop in the front. You're not trying to target that when you're doing that RDL. We're literally targeting, all right, the glutes, okay? The upper and mid glutes, to be exact. Now, as I add this weight, whether I'm holding one or two weights with this, okay? I'm thinking about the base, my feet. Again, they're about hip width apart. I'm really starting to initiate, okay, my feet, I'm grounding, I'm really creating that tension so that way my base is stable, and that way already my legs, all my muscles are already kind of primed, already warmed or activated there. Now as I squat it down, slightly pick this up, I'm gonna roll those shoulders back. I'm gonna keep this kettlebell right in center line. Now as I roll my hips forward, I'm going to hinge it backwards, and just right here, below my knees. You see, remember, what was that cue? Top of my wrist, my palms right there. Now, squeeze in the glutes. I'm back to that center. Breathe it in. Feel those glutes. Take it back to that front. If you need to really feel them, see my knees, pay attention. It's not much of a soft bend, just slightly, and boom, again, take it back up, just below the knee level. And as well, you want to make sure this kettlebell tracks on the inside towards the front of the shins and not forward in the front. If we're hinging forward here like so, bad biomechanics right there. Use a lot of that lower back to pull up and my hamstrings to pull that back up, and a lot of tension within that mid to upper back area. So again, if we're not feeling the pull in the glutes, all that means is you gotta move up on the weight, okay? You're holding this with two hands. These glutes, they're strong muscles there, fam. All right, so as we set up, again, I'm holding the bell by those horns, hip width apart. I'm gonna hinge on my hips right here. So you should feel the stretch in the glutes. Now, I won't necessarily feel them just a bit as much on fire until I get a couple reps in. But if you notice, okay, pushing the hips back, letting my chin travel my chest just below the knees. I am literally focusing my mind all on my glutes. I want glutes, okay? That's all you gotta think about, fam. We're gonna talk about it, mind to muscle connection. Think about that as you're knocking out your RDL. So with the RDL, there is a soft bend in those knees, never fully locked out. We don't ever necessarily perform stiff leg deadlifts in boot camp, fam. So keep that in mind. Coaches will hardly ever ask you to fully straighten that leg out to perform any type of deadlift, okay? There will always be a soft bend in those knees. But again, the RDL action is all on those glutes. You focus on those glutes and you strengthen those glutes. Hey, if you have hip issues, if you have lower back pain, that's gonna dissipate. That's gonna go away, because these two muscles back there, they're responsible for a lot of your walking, a lot of your standing, a lot of your sitting, a lot of your stabilization muscles when you're standing and like in place. Because even right now, they gotta work to keep my hips aligned, to keep these hip flexors, and well, I just said it, all basically where they should be at, and not with that over, hyperextension or hypoextension, either or, going post or anterior tilts with those hips backward or forward. But nonetheless, those glutes play a very important vital role in stabilizing that core as well, because it does tie in to the upper core, but a lower core with those glutes, okay? So again, fam, keeping it highlighted section there. Holding by those horns, hinge, push the butt back to the back of that room. Really feel the stretch. You want to flat back. Your hands are just below those knees, just above that shin level right here. If you don't feel a stretch in your glutes at this point, right here in your range of motion, you need to go just a little bit heavier. If not, really try to really push the glutes back there and then drive those glutes forward. But nonetheless, right below the knees is where you should feel the initial burn, stretch on those glutes, fam, all right? I hope that really helps you out. So again, I want to remind you, RDL means glutes, lack of better terms, the butt, the booty, okay? We're gonna work on this gluteus maximus whenever we get to any type of RDLs or even some of those hip thrusts. That's a story for another day, fam, all right? But nonetheless, I hope this helps out with your form, kind of clarifies the picture as far as what those RDLs should look like. So with that being said there, fam, let me know what you think there, if they helped you out. And yeah, fam, let's have fun, be safe, and knock it out.